We're going to be reacting to the best versus worst Gorilla Tech fan games. Credits to Manjo for making this video, and yeah.
From a low-effort clone that literally tried to make money off of stolen assets, to a game that solved the biggest problem of the original. These are the best versus worst Gorilla Tag fan games, starting with one that most definitely should be illegal. You see—
Oh yeah, Gorilla Tag mobile. I'm pretty sure they're like a spyware malware or some shit.
At the end of 2023, rumors spread through the Gorilla Tag fanbase that an official mobile port was finally coming, and the community instantly ran with it. The game itself has built its entire identity inside a VR headset, but millions of fans who didn't own a Quest were desperate for a way in, so the idea felt believable enough to travel. However, what showed up instead was a game built by a third party that had nothing to do with another Axiom.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like just someone. It had spyware and some shit. I'm pretty sure it had like spyware and malware and some shit.
Actual studio behind Gorilla Tag. Instead, this app dressed itself up in the game's branding, carried the name, and sat on the App Store long enough to pull in real downloads before anyone could stop it. And when people finally downloaded the game, what they discovered was much worse. Inside the app, it had ads stacked on top of each other, broken movement, and assets that the community quickly identified as blatantly stolen. Then straight away, the community put out warning, telling people that the app contained malware and viruses, describing it as a fake—
Yeah, see? I'm pretty sure it had malware and spyware. I didn't download it since I only heard about it. Wasn't planning into it since I got that I got called malware and some shit.
legal copy. But then another Axiom became aware of it, and since then it has been delisted from the App Store. This is how Gorilla Tag Mobile became one of the worst fan games ever made. But on the flip side, there's one specific fan game that not only became instantly loved by everyone, but it even sold out the original. During a hackathon, two developers named Tira and Philippe got inspired by Gorilla Tag's locomotion and a flat-screen PC game called Lethal Company. So they built a working prototype in just 6 weeks, and the idea was pretty straightforward. They wanted to take Gorilla Tag's arm movement that millions of players already knew, drop it into a co-op survival setting, and fill the world with monsters, loot, and valid reasons to explore. The horror plus survival twist is really what gives it something that even the original Gorilla Tag doesn't have, which is an actual goal. On July 3rd, 2024, they launched it as Animal Company, marketed it almost entirely through Discord and TikTok, and spent absolutely nothing on advertising. So this was the response they received. I went into the mines, and the moment I saw something twitch, I rethought my life choices. That's how different the fan game was compared to normal Gorilla Tag. Some people even claim that Animal Company is the only Gorilla Tag-like horror game with good mechanics, as well as being one of the actually scary ones. But the studio then started pushing content updates every single week from launch, and by Christmas 2024, the game had about 145,000 daily active users.
Oh yeah, Animal Company. It was so good, honestly. I wasn't a big horror fan or like treasure type looking guy. I was more into Gorilla Tag at the time. Not really into Animal Company and stuff. The game is really good. I have tried it. It's really fun.
Make no mistake, this game got so popular, their CEO came out and said that the hashtag Animal Company has reached 1 billion views organically.
I forgot that it got... I didn't know it got 1 billion. That's crazy.
Through TikTok. By March 2025, the number of active users peaked at over 1 million, and in that same month, it overtook Gorilla Tag itself as the top earning game on the Quest Store. And then just after 2 more months, it sat at a 4.8 out of 5-star rating across 134,000 reviews. But if you flip the story, there's a fan game that started out exactly like this, but quickly fell into being one of the worst fan games you'll ever play. This game launched on SideQuest and Atlas.
Capuchin, oh yeah.
It's one of the earliest fan games to actually try something different. It had the same hand locomotion as Gorilla Tag, but with multiple maps, a sandbox, and a horror mode nobody else had attempted yet. That horror mode introduced a monster named Dave in December 2022, a creature that hunts the closest player down to the
I never got to try it since I didn't know how to set up side quests, but I'd watched J-Man Curly and a few other people like Elliot and stuff play it, and it was pretty cool.
Sound of a watch tick. The community lost their minds over him, but the game, Capuchin itself, was a totally different story. Players reported constant glitches, disconnection, collision problems with trees and rocks, and a physics system so inconsistent that it caused unexpected behavior mid-game. The developer, who goes by Duckbus, posted publicly that the game barely made enough money to cover server costs, and that every time they opened the Capuchin project file, they didn't even want to click any of the buttons. And if that wasn't bad enough, soon after, a group of hackers broke into a staff account, pushed a malicious update that exposed the dev's real IP address and location to every player in the game, as well as spamming their personal information across the community. Even some of the players got their IPs leaked too. The devs then posted one final tweet saying, "I was hacked, doxed, and shut down. Capuchin is now gone," and that he's working on a new side project unrelated to Gorilla Tag. However, since then, he's been doing nothing but promising to bring back the old Capuchin. But then he's also been catching a lot of flack for desperately trying to stay relevant. So it's safe to say that Capuchin had a massive downfall that no one saw coming.
I mean, it was a really big game. It overpassed Gorilla Tag at one point. Mostly because of the hackers that said, like, doxed people and stuff. And genuinely because of the physics. Like, I played the game and I got stuck on the wall and stuff. When it got released to the App Store, that's when I played it. It was really annoying because I was struggling to move and stuff. Like, your hand would go, like, your Gorilla Tag hand would go into the floor, on the floor, like normal Gorilla Tag. But then your actual controller would feel like it was going through the ground, and it felt super weird, like you were bouncing on the floor. So yeah, that's probably why people are complaining and stuff.
But on the opposite, there's this one fan game that's been so great that it actually fixed one of the major problems of the original. In fact, some people claim that this is the best fan game ever made. See, everyone knows that Gorilla Tag has a toxicity problem that another Axiom has been fighting and losing for years. At one point, the game ran with just 14 moderators for 60,000 players. The report system bans innocent people, lets guilty ones walk, and kids have been documenting it for years. And that's the world Yeet was born into. Two guys named Jack Southard and Nathan Jew met in freshman year of high school in 2015. Spent years building 30 small games together, founded Trash Games in 2022, and merged 3 different game ideas into one. On March 14th, 2024, they launched it on App Lab, and within just 3 months, it had already passed super hot to become the 10th most reviewed VR game of all time, while scoring higher than it. The game itself is undeniably great. You play as a legless plush creature whose belly stuffing you burn to build mid-match. One seeker hunts hiders with throwable pins. Hiders get 5 minutes and the whole terrain shifts because players are actively building into it. On July 17th, 2025, they originally launched as Yeet 2.0, which was now open world with gnome NPCs, mob raids, and a full trading economy. But the most important thing Yeeps did had nothing.
Yeah, Yeeps was actually so good, bro. I played it for hours at a time. Like, the moment it came out, I found it, I was like, what the is this just a copy of a Gorilla Tag fan game? I don't play those. So I clicked on it, I downloaded it since it looked interesting. It looked a bit different from Gorilla Tag. I played it, it was really fun. The fact that you had to grab stuffing and build stuff, it's like Gorilla Tag, they have infection kind of, instead you can throw pins. The movement is really good, it's so good. Yeeps is just like so good. Yeah, and the best part about it is that, like, the fact that it made Gorilla Tag, but instead you could build, create your own stuff. This is full creativity here. Like, you can build masterpieces, you can build sky bases, you can build anything. That's what I liked about Yeeps.
To do with any of that. See, when their player numbers exploded, they integrated an AI voice moderation tool called ToxMod in 2 weeks. Their CEO said without it, they couldn't have caught everything they caught, and that banning players early set an expectation that toxicity simply would not survive inside Yeeps. But while Yeeps quickly became the best fan game of Gorilla Tag, Brick Tag would become the worst for a reason that had nothing to do with the quality of the game itself. In 2020,
oh yeah, Brick Tag. I'll talk after he's done talking.
24, Brick Tag launched on App Lab as the Lego-themed fan game everyone wanted. It featured the same ARM-based locomotion, but built entirely with brick-inspired visuals. Now, since fans had been begging for a Lego crossover for years, the community instantly fell in love with it. However, the hype didn't last long. The game used Gorilla Tag's maps directly, placing it right in the line of fire, which means that the game was too similar for Brick Tag and close enough to be labeled as a clone. So then, in late 2025, the hammer finally dropped as Meta purged over 120 clones in a massive delisting spree. And unfortunately, Brick Tag was caught in the crosshairs. Its listing vanished, surviving only as a desperate re-upload on Twitch. So now, with another Axiom tightening their IP grip, there was nothing left to hide. And this ended up being a clever idea, crushed by the system with no room for it. It's safe to say Brick Tag flew too close to the sun. What they
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Brick Tag, like, blew up, and I'm pretty sure it was made from VMT, and I don't know, I think it was made with VMT or Ellie or some shit. But apparently, in this, like, I don't know if it was on, like, PC or some shit, but honestly, I don't really care. But, yeah, I don't really have much to say for this, besides from, yeah, that's kind of all I have to really say. I don't know what to say about this game.
should have done is learn from this next game that had actually managed to do the impossible by merging another IP with Gorilla Tag without getting punished for it. Continuum had spent 4 years failing before they finally cracked the code. After bleeding money on earlier projects in 2025, they finally launched UG VR, which blended Gorilla Tag's playstyle with a Pokemon-style collecting loop. Here you literally hatch dinosaurs, raise them,
Oh, yeah, this game.
and trade them. And with this incredible change, players became so obsessed that they built trade calculators just to survive the scams. The growth was so big that it had 1.2 million users and a 4.9 star rating that actually dethroned games like Beat Saber. And so this is how UG slowly became one of the most loved fan games of Gorilla Tag.
Yeah, I never got the chance to play UG. I was never really into Pokemon type games. I was never into dinosaurs. I didn't really play much copies besides from the original Gorilla Tag. I also like the Big Scary though. Big Scary was really fun, but then it kind of died down and there was lots of hackers and shit. Yeah. But yeah, these, yeah.